Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with the latest in budget deck technology. And for today's deck tech, we're going to be covering a fun Gruul deck that has a slight modification, if you will, on this aggro deck.
She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid. I've made a lot of special modifications myself.
So as you kind of may have guessed, we are playing a +1/+1 counter deck, taking advantage of the modified ability from some of our cards to then smash our way to victory. Let's go over the stats of the deck real quick before we get started. So as you can see, we are running a mana curve of about 2. We have 19 creatures, 19 non-creature spells, specifically 7 sorceries, 1 artifact, 11 enchantments, and 22 lands split evenly of forests and mountains. As you can see, we are playing a budget deck today, so it is pretty affordable, as you can see on screen right now, with everything that we have, and it's very easy and fun and very aggressive to play. So with that, let's discuss again how we're going to get there. So let's go over the creatures real quick with Evolving Adaptive and Wildwood Scourge. These are our early game threats where they will add counters to themselves in different ways, however. +1/+1 counters go on Wildwood Scourge, whereas Evolving Adaptive will get +1/+1 for oil counters on it, but they still basically work the same way. With Wildwood Scourge, it'll add a +1/+1 counter onto itself whenever another +1/+1 counter is put on a non-Hydra creature. Ooh, man, that was a mouthful. Anyways, with Evolving Adaptive, however, every time we have a creature that comes into the battlefield which is stronger than Evolving Adaptive, we'll get another oil counter added to it, which gives it its +1/+1 buff. So in the 2-drop slot, we will have Zhutar Goblin and Burning Tree Emissary. Ideally, you want Burning Emissary to come in out first, which of course will add on another green and red mana, which we could then use to cast off something else, maybe a Domri's Ambush, maybe one of our other bigger threats, or we can just go maybe another creature like Zhutar Goblin. This goblin has Riot. For those that forgot, Riot basically means that when it enters the battlefield, it comes with our choice of either haste or a +1/+1 counter. If we can sequence it correctly, we can either get Evolving Adaptive out, we can then pump it up with Burning Tree Emissary, and then we can then add on Zhutar Goblin to give our Evolving Adaptive a bunch of counters and make it beefier. In the early part or mid part, maybe in the 2 or 3 drop slot, you can actually put in a Wildwood Scourge, which will also get the buffs as long as we get those counters from our other creatures. And our only other creature in the deck is going to be Thundering Raiju. So in the 4 drop slot, this spirit has haste and it's a 3/3. Whenever the Raiju attacks, you get a +1/+1 counter added to a target creature we control, and then the Raiju will then deal X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control other than the Thundering Raiju. As a reminder again, modifications just basically mean that equipment, auras we control, and counters are modified. So any one of our creatures that has a counter on it is considered modified and will get that buff. So this helps us provide another pseudo way of getting to victory, where we can semi burn out our opponent just to get in a little extra damage against them. Now as far as supporting this whole game plan, how do we get there if we only have a couple of ways with just the creatures? Well, that's where of course all the non-creature spells come into play. So in the 1-drop slot, we have Kumamo Faces Kakazan and Thirsting Roots. We'll talk about Thirsting Roots in just a moment though. This card obviously needs no introduction. It's a fabulous value card. It technically adds another creature on in the form of the Etching. Of course, we want it basically this time around for the +1/+1 counter ability that it adds to a creature entering the battlefield. Fun, cute thing you can do is actually with Wildwood Scourge, you can actually cast it for 1 mana. Even though it's a 0/0, if Kumamo's on the second part of the saga portion, it actually will come in with that counter. So keep that in mind if you actually want to sequence these correctly. Otherwise, other cards that will help us out will have Rhythm of the Wild in the 3-drop slot, along with Invigorating Hot Springs. So these are the 2 core cards that we really want to have on the battlefield. With Rhythm of the Wild, creature spells we control can't be countered, and then non-token creatures we control have Riot. So basically that will mean that everything will be allowing us to give either a haste, or we can add more counters and just beef up the whole team. Fun thing also is it does actually affect Zhutar Goblin, so it actually would get double Riot. So keep that in mind if you want to play Rhythm of the Wild and then the Goblin. The Invigorating Hot Springs, however, will enter the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and then from there we can then move those counters to another one of our creatures, only one at a time per turn. However, it also gives that creature haste if it's already modified. So you can basically pump up the team, give that creature haste, which can allow us to then smash through against our opponent even faster. As for removal in the deck, we also have Domri's Ambush. So this will plus a +1/+1 counter on a creature we control, and then our creature will deal damage to a creature or planeswalker we don't control. And I didn't mention earlier, but let's go over Thirsting Roots, because this is honestly one of our best cards in the early and late game. So in the early game, it just helps us ramp by allowing us to dig one of our basic lands out of our deck to put into our hand to ensure that we can get our land drops. In the mid to late game, however, this card becomes extremely extremely powerful because it has Proliferate. Imagine, if you will, with Proliferate, you could then pump up your entire team if they all have +1/+1 counters on it. This actually would trigger off the Wildwood Scourge. This also can make Thundering Raiju even much more easier to handle. This actually can add on another counter if we at least have one of those +1/+1 counters on the Invigorating Hot Spring, which can then reload it, and then we can add another counter to something else. So it actually is a very powerful card if we know how to use it at the right time. Otherwise, your only other final non-creature spell is Embercleave. I'm sure many of you have seen how this card works. As long as we have a bunch of creatures out, it's cheaper to cast, and of course it has Flash. Once we add it to that creature, it'll give it Double Strike and Trample. So this is our way we can finish off our opponent and force through the remaining points of damage to get to that victory. Otherwise, in terms of your land base, we have a Den of the Bugbears, our only other rare land that also is a creature. This is basically plan B to the deck to help us go wide if we need to, and also can give us a couple extra tokens if we need to put an Embercleave back onto something else. 7 mountains, 8 forests, a couple of root-bound crags, and 4 stomping grounds rounds out the rare land package. For your sideboard, you will have Snakeskin Veils, which also add +1/+1 counters and give us a creature hexproof, so we have a little bit of protection in the sideboard. We also have Artifacted Enchantment Removal and Return to Nature. It also can pick off a card from a graveyard, just in a pinch if we really need to stop something. As for other additional removal, we have another copy of Domri's Ambush. We also have some Obliterating Bolts as our catch-all removal against creatures and planeswalkers. We also have Ferocity of the Wild, so this 3-mana enchantment will ensure that our team gets a +1/+0 pump and also trample to force through damage and prevent our opponent from going wide with chump blocking. And finally, against life gain, because that's one of our other biggest things we are a weakness to, is Giant Cindermaw. So this Dinosaur Beast turns off life gain. It also has trample, so if we can add some counters to it, it can also force through some damage. But otherwise, that's the whole deck for you in a nutshell. Can this cheap budget deck work besides other styles of Gruul decks out there? Let's go ahead, let's take the deck into a couple matches and show you how it's meant to be played. But before we continue, if you do like any of the content that I do, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you watch the content so you don't miss out on any of the gameplay, booster pack openings, deck decks, and so much more. Okay, my favorite friends, here we go. We're playing our Hot Mods deck, a deck that focuses on counters. And okay, we don't have a threat here at all, so we have to mulligan. Okay, this is doable. I think we can make this work, so let's keep this and see what happens. We'll put back, I really want to keep that Raiju, but I think we might have to drop that. So we're going to put back the Raiju for the time being. And hopefully we'll be able to dig out some of our other threats. So with that, let us play... Wait, did I just put back the wrong card? Oh dear. Oops. That was a mistake on my end, everyone. I guess we'll find a way to make it work. Kumamo. How did I not pay attention to my clicks there? Yikes. Okay. Well, hopefully that won't come back to bite us, right? Okay. Forest. Oni Cult Anvil. Okay, so they're a cat oven deck? I guess we'll find out right now. Go swinging. Down to 17. Another land. It's a tap land. Another Anvil. Okay, that's interesting. Wildwood Scourge. This is fine for now. They sacrifice one of these, they'll be able to make 2 constructs. So we're not going to attack for now. We want to keep what we have because we want to start using these Domri's ambushes to start pumping everything up. We really could use our land drops though. We would really like those. Circuit Ender. That's interesting. Okay, let's see if our opponent finds a way around that. So let's Domri's Ambush, Circuit Mender. They're most likely going to just sack this here, but that's fine. So they go sacking, as predicted. We still got to put a counter on our stuff, so that's not a bad thing. We go swinging here. They're down to 15. Oh man, we just really need a land. And then we can actually play some stuff and go off. Professional Phrase Breaker. Wow, they're just playing cards that I don't see anybody playing. Okay, I mean, that's fine. Another... We get rid of that and exile it. We pump our team of 2 little creatures that could do a lot more than I thought, actually. Alright, they're down to 8s. Some way, somehow, despite the jank we're playing against, our jank is actually out-janking them, if that makes any sense. Sokazin Smelter. I guess we're just playing against another budget deck here, which is fine. I don't mind that. Come on, land. Okay, so they have Blood Fountain. So they do have ways of now making stuff. Burning Tree Emissary. Well, that doesn't really help us now. Hold on, we'll do this instead. Kumamo faces Takazan. Bring him down to 7. Go swinging. They're down to 4. We're almost there. Falcon Wrath Forebearer. Yeah, our opponent's just playing jank, which is, I guess, fine for us. Ball take, Surge. Okay, that's a legit card, actually. So we do lose one of our creatures, and that's fine. There's our land. Finally. Okay, so here's how we do this, everybody. We will play Burning Tree Emissary. Get a counter on one of our creatures. That pumps up the Scourge. We play Invigorating Hot Springs. That turns on our creature to give it haste. Give it a counter. Pumps up the Scourge. We go swinging here. The Forebearer can't block, which is great for us. Our opponent's going to start sacrificing their stuff, though, which is going to be really annoying for the life gain. But we'll find a way out of this. Because, again, we have Embercleave already waiting in the wings. Actually, we do need another red source, though. That's what we need. But, okay. Aside from that, we still have Invigorating Hot Springs. Circuit Mender again. They gain some life. Annoying, but still fine. Thought I might as well just swing with it. Okay, they do. Otherwise, I'm like, I can't block, so you might as well just do their thing. Okay, Thirsty Roots. Okay, that's actually fine. Oh, actually, hold on. I think we have a way we can win this. Hold on. We need to search for a land. It's tempting to proliferate, but we need to get that red source now. So let's get that mountain. Mountain goes down. We then go swinging. No matter what they stop. Oh, actually, we forgot to put the counter on our creature. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll make it out of that. We then Embercleave. Do they sack already with it on a stack? They do. Okay, that's fine. Okay. We haven't actually placed down our creature yet. Oh, wow. Okay. Double sack here. Let us place it on... Oh, never mind. Okay. Then we got there. Yay, we did it. I mean, it was... I mean, this was only in unranked, but I'll take it. That's a win. Okay, my fiery friends, here we go. We are playing our Hot Mods deck, a Gruul Aggro deck that focuses on counters. And, okay, well, we've got a little bit of a slow running here with the Kumamos, but we can build up some counters, so I think we can probably get away with this. Let's keep it and see what happens. Okay, so our opponent did do a little bit of their own mulliganing. Elvish Mystic. So, Elves, or is it the Mono Green Devotion? I guess we'll find out. We have a Mountain coming down. Kumamo. Which is going to be nice. Down to the Bugbear. Oh, are they Gruul too? Oh, okay. They got Gallia. Is this the legendary deck? I guess we'll find out right now. Okay, so with that, Forest down. We will play Burning Tree Emissary. Pump that up. Make a token here. Okay, and then we will play Wildwood Scourge. Come down also with a one counter. Okay, so we're building up our board. I'm playing the Rockboard Veil. They gonna go swinging? They do. Okay, that's fine. Wait, actually, do we block here? Is this a trap? Ember. Wow. Wow. You gotta be kidding me. Come on. I'm not salty, everyone. I'm not salty. It's fine. We can deal this. Block here. That's fine. Only down to 11. That's okay, everybody. We're somehow gonna find a way out of this mess. I don't know how, but we will. Okay. Rootbound Crag. We'll play Kumamo. Ping. We will play Thirsting Roots. We will proliferate with it. We then put another counter on our creature there. We will then not attack. Okay. Gallia is a little scary right now, but we're going to find a way out of this. Hazorat. That can swing too. That's actually a little scary. Okay. Well, actually, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, I kind of give some respect to our opponent for playing that. That was kind of fun. Okay, so let's see. Do we survive? Wait, hold on. We don't. Okay, so how do we do this? Block here. Block here. I think that might get us out of this. Maybe. Hold on. Did I do my math right? Okay. Okay. So that's that. We now have another attacker here. Okay. Thundering Raiju. Well, actually, I don't think actually we get out of this. Oh, okay. Well, this kind of stinks. We'll still swing here. We'll put another counter on top of that, pumping up with the Raiju. We came close, everybody. Unfortunately, that's still not enough. We were really close here, but that's okay. Had a Robber of the Ridge also. Well, maybe I shouldn't have attacked. Maybe actually we could have... Well, I guess we'll never know now. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not mad. Okay, my fiery friends, here we go. We are playing our Hot Mods deck, a Gruul Aggro deck with a twist of using counters. So, alright, this is not too shabby. We can actually make this work, so let's keep this and see how it goes. Hollow Fountain, Mausoleum Wanderer. Ooh, okay, so it's Spirits. Can we race Spirits here? I guess we'll find out. Alright, so Forest down, Evolving Adaptive. They go swinging. We're down to 19. Alright. Do keep their stuff up, so let's see if that actually holds out for them. Kumamo faces Kakazan. Pinging for 1. We go swinging here. They're down to 16. Rattle Chains. Okay, so how do we get out of this? How do we fight this combo? Well, they just went attacking, so that's fine. We will then place down a mountain. We will place down the Zertog Goblin. The deck usually doesn't have any counters, so we should be okay here. Well, actually, I think I just jinxed myself there. Well, never mind. We'll go swinging what we have. Down to 15. Okay, so we have removal, which is nice, but if they have more counters, this is actually not going to be going our way. Furious Obsession. That means they have to swing. Shacklegeist. Okay, so they're tapped out, which is fine. That is helpful for us. They can still sacrifice Mausoleum Wanderers, so that's actually kind of annoying, but we'll find a way to get out of this, everybody. We pump up our Evolving Adaptive. Forest. Okay, I think we got this. Okay. On the Evolving Adaptive. Take out the Rattle Chains. Okay, so with that, we could then go swinging. They're down to 10. We're getting close. If we can get on a Invigorating Hot Springs, that'll be fantastic. Lantern Bearer. Okay. Not the best spirit, but they got it. Tapping. They go swinging. Down to 7. Okay, Kumamo again. Invigorating Hot Springs. Geist Light Snare. No surprise there. Okay, it's fine. Kumamo. Down to 9. We go swinging again. Down to 4. We're close. We're really close, everybody. Scott. I hate this card so much. Oh my gosh. Come on. We're so close. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Spectral Sailor. Mausoleum Wanderer pumps. Down to 1. Oh boy. Wow, we're so close here. Okay. So in any case, let us... Burning Tree Emissary. Pumps. Makes mana. Invigorating Hot Springs. Opponent can sack their Mausoleum Wanderer, but it doesn't help them here. Thirsting Roots. Proliferate. Pump everything. Bring out another Etching. We then place a counter on top of an Etching. Oh man, I think we're still short, but oh man, this is so close. We go swinging. We're going to knock our opponent down to 2 here, but that's as close as we get. Man, we were so close here. Well, I mean, that's, again, I'm not sad, everybody. We came close, but hey, Spirits is a tough match anyway, so I'm not going to be mad about this one. And there you have it, everybody. So that was our Hot Mods deck for you, a budget Gruul deck. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was a little disappointing. You kind of saw there that we had some run-ins with the ranked matches, but again, this is mostly what I would definitely say is a much more jankier deck out there. I suppose you probably could also argue that maybe regular Gruul decks that just build value as is are a lot less complicated. That's not to say this deck is bad. I honestly liked it. It was definitely something different when it comes to it, but because of how much setup we need, it probably is the reason why we underperformed. We were actually slower than I thought we were, so that's unfortunate for us. But that doesn't mean that this deck is horrible. I honestly think this deck probably is going to be another one of those decks I would say definitely needs upgrades in order to be highly effective against our opponents. Now, if you do want to upgrade the deck, here's going to be something I'm going to recommend for you. Much of the main deck will stay mostly intact. There'll be a couple of essentials that I'm going to recommend. Pelt Collector will allow itself to pump itself up similar to our little Fire Exceeding creature, but the biggest difference, of course, is it will give itself trample, which means it can self-sufficiently handle its own thing. Gala Greeters is going to be also replacing our Goblin. This instead will give us a lot more versatility because sometimes we can put the 1/1/1 counter, sometimes we may need the treasure token, and sometimes you might want the life gain to stabilize. This does mean we'll have to cut out Domri's Ambush, but also we'll be adding in a copy of Gallia of the Endless Dance. So this Satyr will allow us to hopefully filter through our deck, allowing you to then draw some cards and give you a little bit more advantage in the mid to late game. For the 3-drop slot, we're going to get in 1 copy of Kodama of the West Tree. This sweet spirit allows our creatures to have trample as long as they're all modified. Whenever a modified creature we control deals combat damage to a player, we get to search our library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tap. That's actually very powerful because that'll allow us to just get a lot of our lands out of the deck and ensure that most of our other draws will be hits. Otherwise, that does mean that you'll have to lose a Rhythm of the Wild, but that's perfectly fine. Most of what we're doing gives us a lot more versatility. Otherwise, for your land base, you can then add in a couple more rare lands. You'll have the Sokuzan Crucible of Defiance, a Seiju Who Endures, of course, and a bunch of extra dual lands that give you a lot more versatility and ensure that you can cast what you need on time. For the sideboard upgrades, I'm going to recommend Cinder Vines to get rid of your artifacts and enchantments, but that's mostly going to be here to punish control decks from going too crazy with any of their non-creature spells. To help out with that, we will also have as Graveyard Hate Clothis, which also can become an indestructible god if we have enough devotion on the battlefield. A copy of Domri Anarcha Bolas, which allows our creatures to get a little bit of pump and also gives us more insurance in preventing our creatures being countered. Summon Tarka's commands to shut off instantly life gain, and of course give ourselves some last minute pump ability or direct damage to our opponent's face. And then finally, to round it all out, a Grafdigger's Cage as your catch-all against graveyard hits and also to prevent Collected Company from going off. But no matter what way you want to do this deck, however you want to play it, I highly recommend. It is fun to play, and as always, I know Gruul doesn't really give you too much in terms of versatility. There are obviously some much more unique Gruul decks out there, but I just wanted to do something fun and put a slight different twist on the typical Gruul aggro decks out there. Still, however you do want to play this deck, whether you do want to play it on a budget or you do want to do the upgrade version we just showed you right now, I assure you, no matter how you want to make your modified creatures attack your opponent, you will definitely not be disappointed. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later!